Hello, and welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Sherry, a financial coach.
And I'm Val, a financial planner. And today we are talking about time management. So things that we do, things that we've tried, perhaps, that haven't worked. I have been to countless seminars where typically a male speaker gets up and says, this is what I do and this is what my days look like. And they've shared their Outlook or Google Calendar, and it's been like lunch, start my day, follow-ups, client meetings, done my day. And that's great, but that's not feasible to do every day. So I've set myself up for failure many times by trying to structure my days perfectly. And then my schedule changes. We have Grant 50% of the time. So those bus days are different. Like there's certain things that you can do, but then life happens. So have tried different things. I do like the Pomodoro method. I probably said it wrong.
Pomodoro?
I
don't know.
So it's 25 minutes of focus time, 5 minutes of a little break. I find even just setting a timer on my phone and not touching my phone for that timer, but then sometimes I need to look something up that is on my phone and all of a sudden I'm down a rabbit hole. So Be Present, that app has been great.
Yep.
So not living by one hard and fast technique.
No. That doesn't work for entrepreneurs in most cases, especially entrepreneurs with ADHD that are female and have a monthly cycle, because
retweet
different energy levels, different responsibility, different, it's just so varied, my energy level throughout the month. Even though I'm now medicated, it was worse before when I reflect and look back, but being able to have flexibility as an individual with ADHD is fucking critical for me.
Yes.
There's so many, and I've tried this before, like waking up like stupid early, like all the people that are blah, blah, blah wake up at 5 a.m. Well, fuck that. Like I will wake up at 8 a.m. and
that sounds
don't
lovely.
mess with me. Empty nester. Like putting that pressure on you to wake up at a time that doesn't work for you is going to be, and like sometimes you don't have a choice. If you have a traditional job where you leave the home and you've got littles that require a lot of your energy in the evenings and you want to work out consistently, because working out first thing in the morning with ADHD has been like amazing. Sometimes at different stages of your life, you have to shift like your wake schedule to what makes the most sense for you. But if you are like me, and I appreciate that I have a lot of things that are beneficial because I don't have littles, I don't have a fixed schedule. What do I want my day to look like? And
it's a beautiful stage to be in.
But also, and I know like the procrastination becomes a thing, and there's like, oh, it's going to be super hot tomorrow if I'm going to get up and go for a run. Like I should really get up at 6:30 and be out the door by 7 so that I'm not, and then I suffer the consequences when I don't. Last week when it was like 35 degrees, I'm running at 9:30 and it just like dripping
extra sweat
in sweat. And I do find lots of procrastination in the mornings. And if I have an appointment or a meeting at 11 or 12:30 or 1,
your day starts later. I see.
It's like, that's something I have this at 1, but first I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then before my meeting, I want to do this. And like, it doesn't always work out. And sometimes that's me working into the evenings. It's maybe the heavier day.
And
the next day.
I love your 8 a.m. wake up. I think my body will love that one day for it. But currently, I feel like if I'm not awake before the majority of my household, then I'm jumping on the train, kind of like chasing it down and jumping on it versus being on it when it takes off. So I love getting up before everyone else does. I love the quiet. I would love to be more consistent at it, but I also love sleep. And I find myself working a little bit later, so then I'm trying to catch up on things by working later, but then I want to be up earlier, so I'm not giving myself enough, and it's not sustainable. I need to go to bed sooner.
Yeah, and that bedtime procrastination is a lot of, like, it happens a lot of times to ADHDers, especially that have like lots of busy things to take care of, because it's like that you have that quiet time in the morning. So if you wake up at 5 a.m., yes, you can have quiet time in the morning before your household wakes up, but you can also have that quiet time at midnight when your house is asleep, and those two things are very conflicting priorities.
Yes. So time management, I have little stops in my brain too where I don't want to be on my phone past a certain time. Typically pretty good at it. Ideally it's going down at like 9:30, and then in the morning it's ideally not the first thing that I look at either. It's aside. I'm starting my brain a little bit clearer because it can get so loud if I'm on my phone. So busy, so fast. So if I can just have a bit more peace.
And I essentially have I have notifications for text messages and like a few communication apps. So like if people are trying to get a hold of me, I will get notifications, but I have no notifications for anything. Like, so I have enough anxiety that I am not, like, I don't have that ADHD running late for everything, because it's partnered with the anxiety of, oh my God, I can't be late for anything because everybody will hate me. But I've got that just in time. So bless your heart,
I have the other one.
You're often late for our scheduled podcast
100%,
days. But I'm preparing for my day like you're going to arrive precisely on time, but you also shoot me that like on my way or leaving now, or so I know. But I was rushing, and you might, like, if you watch the videos, like my hair's always some stage of damp because it's like that just in time, but not just in time with dry hair.
Right.
It's like I'm ready, but I'm not perfectly ready, even though you're not. So like if you arrived on like the scheduled time, I would be even more drown rat looking. So it's like I just in time. If my husband tells me that he wants to leave at 11, I am ready at 11. So it's like I'm able to get ready on time, but when he says 11, he probably means 10:45, because he's a leave early.
Okay.
And I'm a leave like just in the nick of time, unless we're going to the airport and then I have to be 7 hours early. But
if it's more of like a family thing, then I'm in the nick of time. But if it's more and by family I mean like Grant's baseball, then okay, we have to be there. So I'll back it out. And Travis is a leave early. And when it comes to things like today, I have this mindset of, well, I can get that done. I can get that one more thing done, and then it's not there for me when I get home tonight. So I have to stop doing that. I have to take one thing out of that equation and go do one thing less.
So I saw this video on, I think it was TikTok recently, where the person says that like somebody was asking like, hey, what time are you going to be over? I think they were having like a games night at their friend's house, like something casual, right? And like, so like something like this, like if you're a little bit late, we still figure out how to get the things done in the time. So it's like, this person was supposed to go to a games night and there was no like set time. And it was like, okay, it's noon. And what they want to know what time I'm going to be there. And my inclination is to tell them that I'd be able to be there at 5:30.
Okay.
And then they actually started writing down, okay, so between now and then I need to, like work out. I need to meditate. I need to go like drop this off at the post office, pick this up, do these errands. So then they started writing out all of the things, how long that they thought it would actually take them. But then they were also including like buffer time. So a shower, like maybe a shower takes you 10 or 15 minutes.
Right.
But how long does it take you to pick out your clothes, get ready, like get all the supplies that you need, be able to spend a little time in your bathrobe or your towel after, and like dry your hair and like put your makeup on or do your skincare routine. So it's like that 15 minutes quickly expanded to like half an hour or 45 minutes because we don't think of like the transition time. So they were just like, and they also mentioned to figure out how long tasks actually take you, because that's the big challenge, right? We have this positivity that I can get ready in 10 minutes. It'll be fine. I need to leave at 10 and it's 9:30 and I can sit here and scroll on my phone and like sip my coffee for 20 minutes. It's fine. But then, so what they recommended is figuring out how long you think it's going to take you. And then setting a timer for actually 3 times as long. So if you think it's going to take you 10 minutes, set a timer for half an hour and then go about have your shower, do your thing, and then see how long it actually took you. They also said you can use like a stopwatch and like count up, so you can actually see.
Yeah,
it's like that awareness of how long things take you.
Yes,
remove from that positivity of I can do this. Like,
but we can also get a lot of things done in a short amount of time if we need to. Under pressure. Under pressure is like
it's
magic.
It's magic, and I do. I've had a like timer in my like a visual timer in my Amazon Save for Later for the longest time, and it's like that visual. So if you set it for half an hour, like half of the clock is like in a color, and then you see it like slowly tick away.
I do timer on my microwave, but that would be a better visual.
And I do like the watch setting that I have on my Apple Watch has a timer where I can just like click it really quick. And I know I need to use a timer for everything, timers and reminders and alarms for everything that is time sensitive. Mm-hmm. If I am cooking pasta, if I have something on the barbecue, if there's
start the laundry, I need to remind myself to put in the dryer.
Yep. And I'm usually pretty good at that because I try and do it on the same day every week.
So you're just and always going down
there. Also creating that external accountability with my husband being the laundry folder, and he normally does it on like a specific day of the week. So I'm like, okay, this is laundry day. He's going to fold it. I have to make sure that it gets done. So that ways to add increased like external accountability. So if somebody's going there with you, like, can they call you and remind you? Like, what support systems do you need to help you be on time for things and show up for your commitments? One post in a Facebook group is somebody actually said, everybody around me, I have trained them so that they know if I need to leave the house at 9 a.m., they need to tell me at least give me a 60 to 90 minute buffer. And just like, and that for me, it's like, that's good. But then if that person forgets and you're late, then are you putting the onus on them? So figuring out like timers, alarms.
Yeah. I do block certain things in my calendar that are reoccurring. And when I find I'm like, June was a really crazy month for me and there's a lot that I need to do to get back on track, I have a lot of time blocked to do that.
Yep.
The flexibility, creating that space, huge. Timers.
And then what other supports help you to, so you said you've got time blocked coming up. What things will help you to actually make sure you get those done?
So setting a timer and having like mini work sprints with myself. So I have done some group work sprints and those are great. You just can't always have those all the time. Actually, there was some sort of company that did that, but anyways.
I think there is. Like there are businesses that actually like you pay a monthly subscription fee and you get access to like body doubling sessions. But for me, if it was a bunch of strangers, I'd be like, and it's a group of people and I really have no like commitment to them, that wouldn't, even if I'd invested financially, that wouldn't be enough
of a motivator.
I would need like, I am going to like hop on Zoom with you at this specific time and we're going to just like 2 minutes to talk about what we're going to do and then do it. And then a summary at the end. That I need that body doubling to have more like
personal connection.
Yeah,
I would agree. Things like I need to do a dump run and a donate run. So the dumps only open on Saturdays. And if I can loop it into one trip, that's all in Tilsonburgs. Those pieces, that's not work related, obviously, but there's having someone, whether it's like a friend come help or a sister, or I'm bringing our nephew to come help with a couple things, having that person there, then it's like, okay, this has to get done now. Like we're using this time to get this done.
Running errands with like friend errand days is something I've started to see more of. Like, I don't want to go and spend $80 on a dinner, but like, can we run errands together on a Saturday morning, or like finding different ways to spend time together that are actually more productive. And so what about you and client appointments? Is that something that's a challenge for you time-wise? Because like they'll have a scheduled start time, whether they're like virtual or in person.
If it's virtual's pretty good. In person, sometimes not so much because of the commute. And if the last one goes over, then so that's the problem, is if like one domino starts, then do I cut off that third client and shorten theirs a bit because the fourth, like,
and sometimes it's hard because we're talking about sensitive things with people, but something that's worked for me, because I do all my meetings virtual now, but something I when you get started with a topic with somebody, you want to make sure that it's like got like that it's wrapped up. But one thing that I like to do is I do give myself a buffer between meetings, even though they're all like virtual. I'm not going anywhere. I give myself a little bit of a buffer, but I also, if I do happen to have like something I need to leave for or something like right after, I will generally share that like at the very beginning of an appointment. So if I have a meeting at noon and I have to leave at 1 o'clock and it's for an hour, I will say like, I just want to let you know, because I know sometimes we go over a little bit, that I do have like a commitment that I have to like be done at 1. So I'll set that expectation early on. And sometimes it's just like, it's important to make sure that they know that.
Do you have any clients or family members that potentially, regardless of telling them that or not, they would just keep talking?
Not really. And because it's virtual, I can just be like, okay, I'm really sorry. I know we're in the middle of something, but I have to go.
Yes.
It's like
the virtual goodbye is so much easier than the in-person goodbye.
Okay, speaking of family, my brother-in-law does, so my husband's parents live in Tavistock. And my brother-in-law calls it the Tavistock goodbye,
where they walk you out to your vehicle and down the driveway,
so, like,
sort of thing.
Not out of the house and into the driveway, but like we'll like start in the living room and we'll like peruse through the dining room, and then we end up in like the kitchen, and there'll be like hugs and goodbyes and like, oh yeah, but about this. So there is the good old Tavistock goodbye when we're
Sometimes I have the Tavistock goodbye in client meetings, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I have to go.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like, really, when you look at it from that perspective, or if you continue that meeting, then you know like that next person's going to like be impacted, and like it feels shitty to be late for your next appointment, but it's like, but I have this time for you. It's like, just so going into like, hey, I've planned an hour for us together, so if there's anything, that's what I'll usually do too, is if I do have a hard stop, or a lot of times at the beginning of a meeting, is there anything you want to make sure that we like address and talk about?
Yes.
Because I do have this hard stop, I want to make sure that we're covering it. It's not like that, like 55 minutes into a 60-minute meeting, like, by the way, I was thinking about, and they just like drop this bomb. You're like, oh.
Yes. Like that would have been great in minute 3. Communicating at the beginning, setting timers, having reminders. I do map out my days as well. I have my blocks, but then I also map out it with, commute time. If there is an in-person meeting, I block it on both sides.
And I think in Google Calendar, if you put the address in your meeting, it can prompt you to tell you what time you need to leave.
I wish Outlook would do that. Microsoft, get on it.
Yeah, so that's something else to consider too, because like a commute you might think is normally 20 minutes.
Yes.
Maybe there's an accident and maybe it's going to take longer. So I think if you have it in Google in your calendar, it will then say like, hey,
by the way,
you need to leave earlier. There's this like delay.
Yes.
I've never actually done that, but I think that's how it works.
Okay, noted.
So maybe so for me, I use my Apple calendar, but I actually enter things in my Google Calendar, and then my Google Calendar feeds to my Apple Calendar. So maybe you could link like a Gmail calendar, like a Google Calendar with your Outlook calendar with Microsoft. So maybe the two of them could somehow work together. Yeah, interesting. There's so many different things that you can do. And one thing is like the same thing is probably not going to work for everything. And the same thing might work really good for 2 months and then just be crap. So don't be afraid to try different things,
try new
switch it up, and
try paper versus electronic. Like that's been a big thing for me too. I do better with electronic, but I miss paper, like agendas and such.
Yeah. Figure out what works for you, give it a try, but also like for your loved ones, it's easier to like set that expectation to be like, hey, this is a challenge that I have. But for clients, it's harder because you want to be professional and be on time. But one of the bonuses is for me, because I work with a lot of clients that have ADHD, that sometimes they're late too. So it gives me some wiggle room. So like when I'm rushing up to my office to get on Zoom, and then it's like 11 o'clock and then it's 11:02 when they get on, like that gives me some time to. So if you're one of my clients, I appreciate you being a few minutes late, and we're still able to get the things done that we need to get done. So get to know yourself and figure out, what do you need? Do you need to tell your spouse or partner or loved ones, like, give me a 20-minute buffer. If I need to leave at 8:40, tell me it's 8:20. Like what is going to help you be successful, but also like be patient with yourself and give yourself some grace and don't beat yourself up. And if you're in a client facing business like Val and I are, having those clients that are understanding because they understand the way your brain works. That's why I love working with fellow ADHD entrepreneurs, because they get it and they understand, and they've got more grace for me and more wiggle room. And if you've got clients that are like, they're giving you a lot of grief, and it goes from both ways, right? Like if you have a professional in your life that you don't get good vibes from, or you don't get good vibes from a client or customer,
yeah,
like
it's probably not a good fit both ways. Like,
don't be afraid to let it go. Like I talked to a client yesterday, and she reached out to me because she had a question about something like a big financial decision that she wanted to talk through. And she actually said, like, I don't feel comfortable talking to my financial planner about this. I'm like, red flag.
Yeah,
red flag. Because you have to have,
that's the person that you want to be talking with about those things, those big things in life.
Yeah. So then like she's bringing me in, which is great. And we had a great conversation, but she was having to like share all those things with me that her planner would have already been privy to because she wasn't comfortable. So it's like, if you don't have a level of comfort with somebody, especially somebody related to your finances, don't be afraid to move. And here's the thing. I have moved financial planners before, and you don't actually have to do anything. So if somebody is managing your finances, your investments for you, and you want to move, the person you're moving to will manage all of that. And I did get a not so nice email from the people that I moved from. But for me, that nasty email was like the final nail in the coffin. That
really,
yeah, they're just like, we weren't aware that you were unhappy with our services.
When I've had some clients that maybe I haven't been able to contact, so their policy will all of a sudden transfer. And I'm like, that's okay. I didn't have a number for you. I couldn't find you on Facebook. And I don't ever say anything or reach out to them because I typically don't have their contact information, but I just like mentally wish them well. I'm like, that's perfect. You found someone that's right for you. That's awesome.
Yep. And it was funny because when I moved from this company, because I hadn't been with them for very long, because after I got fired, I moved everything to them because it was recommended to me by a friend. And then I tried to send a client to them, but they didn't have a big enough portfolio, so they wouldn't help them. And I specifically moved to somebody that would be able to help somebody starting from zero. And even though I had been in a meeting with them and told them about my business, they're like, oh, we didn't know you had a business. I'm like, okay, so there's another like red flag. Because we were small potatoes to them, right? And so
you're still potatoes.
If you don't get a good vibe from your financial professionals, for any professionals, your furnace company, there's other people out there. There are people that are going to serve you at a higher level and you're going to feel comfortable with. So random turn on our
time management. So that time management.
In true ADHD fashion, we will talk about any topic in any podcast, regardless of the intended topic of the podcast. So we are glad you've been here. We hope you've got some time management tips that are going to help you. And if you have any tips, please share them with us in the comments or shoot us an email. There's some of our contact and our social information is in the comments. So you can always be sure to be able to contact us if you want to share something with us. So we hope you have a great day, and we can't wait to see you next time.